From the Digital Media Center on the campus of Southern Oregon University in Ashland, Oregon. This is Ramping Up Your English, an educational program for intermediate level English language learners. Here's your host for Ramping Up Your English, John Letts.
Welcome to Ramping Up Your English. Ramping Up Your English is for English learners from all language backgrounds who have already begun the process of learning English as their second language. It's a program for people of all ages. If you're seeking greater English proficiency, this program is designed to help you reach that goal. Ramping Up Your English is a support program for English learners who have already passed the beginning stages of learning English. We take a content-based approach to helping you reach higher English proficiency. We use English to teach English. The theme for our first unit is Trains and Railroads. This is Episode 8, Segment 1. In an earlier episode, we got to learn about streamliners, passenger trains designed to look sleek and modern. The advent of streamliners produced a number of trains with names just instead of numbers. One of the earliest trains to get the name was Southern Pacific's Sunset Limited, a train that took passengers west from New Orleans to Los Angeles. You can still ride the Sunset Limited. It's operated by Amtrak. In fact, it's train number 1 and 2 in the Amtrak system. When I was a teenager working on my uncle's farm, I often saw the Sunset Limited speed by while I was driving a tractor in the fields by the railroad tracks. I often waved, wondering what it must be like crossing the country in a train. I don't have to wonder anymore, and neither do you. Our first video clip today is of the Sunset Limited leaving Los Angeles toward New Orleans. Welcome aboard.
The romance of train travel finds itself in the first long-distance train to bear a name, the Sunset Limited. Stretching from New Orleans to Los Angeles, this Southern Pacific service is now run today by Amtrak. Built to carry passengers from cultured New Orleans into the wild and vast West, the Sunset Limited seldom disappoints adventurous souls who like to travel in style. America's first transcontinental railroad was built mostly from the east to west, with the Central Pacific meeting the Union Pacific north of Salt Lake City. When the Central Pacific's Big Four built America's second transcontinental railroad, they built and took over railroads from the west to the east, the direction we're going in today's program. Our journey began in Union Station in Los Angeles. The Sunset Limited is one of 3 long-distance trains departing from here. But be aware, the Sunset Limited only runs 3 days a week. In recent years, the Sunset Limited departs long after sunset, a nighttime departure from Los Angeles. On the journey where this video was taken, our departure was delayed by regional flooding. We had boarded on time and enjoyed a great dinner in the dining car, but our train didn't move out of the station until hours later. Here we saw control lights for multiple tracks. And even at this late hour, regional trains were still moving. The following morning, we found ourselves in the desert of Arizona. All this chatter you hear is because we are enjoying breakfast in the dining car. We were back in our roomette when the Sunset Limited reached Tucson.
We're coming into the station. There's an old steam engine.
Getting
nice
some
station.
reflection.
Tucson is a service stop for the Sunset Limited. Trash is removed, the locomotive is fueled, and a new crew comes aboard. It's a great chance to get out and stretch your legs. The legendary Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday are represented here, symbolizing the West's wildness. We'll revisit Tucson and the country east of here in part 2 of the Sunset Limited Eastbound. For many years, the Sunset Limited left Los Angeles in early afternoon. Here we're pulling out of Union Station during one of those years. You can see some construction along the platform.
Leaving Los Angeles, pulling out. Eastbound to New Orleans.
Collect tickets. We'll be getting announcements from the dining car and the lounge car here as we move along shortly, and they'll tell you all about our services and facilities on the train. We do want to caution you, though, as you walk through the train, do hold on to the seat rest bags and wear your shoes at all times, and please don't run. Got a lot of kids on here today. If kids can't get excited and start running, please have them not run, or if they are, please stop them so that they don't fall. Want everybody to have a safe trip. Please always wear your shoes anytime you walk through the train. Absolutely. You guys know the kind of room
That's me, I'll be that.
All right.
How we doing, everybody?
Hey, this is our
You guys
friendly
doing okay?
car attendant.
Okay.
And what's your name?
My name is Anthony.
Anthony. Nice to
right.
meet you. So, ma'am, what train are you on?
I'm on the Sunset Limited.
And where does this train go?
Well, it dead ends at New Orleans.
And where do you get off?
I'm getting off in a little town called Lafayette.
As we traveled east, we could see the San Bernardino Mountains in the background. We passed through some country with significant soil erosion, and some parts had orchards of orange trees. The mountains were lit by the light of the magic hour, but soon the light faded in this area of washes. We'd awake tomorrow in Arizona.
Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English. Our goal is to help you elevate your level of English proficiency in a way that causes the least amount of stress. Our approach is to make English learning interesting and fun by using a thematic approach. Our first theme is trains and railroads. Southern Pacific Sunset Limited was a notable train. At one time, it was made up of all Pullman sleepers and parlor cars, no coaches. There was a time when it ran from New Orleans all the way up to San Francisco. The dining car popularized iceberg lettuce, helping to make the Salinas Valley in California the salad bowl of the United States. Southern Pacific published a promotional magazine just for Sunset Limited passengers. It evolved to become today's popular Sunset magazine. We'll learn more about this special train and share more eastbound journey after this. This is a Ramping Up Your English book review. Are you looking for outstanding photography and a way to strengthen your English vocabulary? you'll have both in Seymour Simon's Book of Trains from HarperCollins Publishers. Each time you turn a page in this book, you're treated to world-class photography. One page features a train switching yard in Portland, Oregon. Most pages have written information about the picture you're enjoying and about trains in general. You'll encounter the precise vocabulary of train terminology. You'll also encounter language forms like present tense verbs and prepositional phrases. You'll see how objects are used to describe things by listing their parts. Mostly, though, you'll enjoy learning more about trains and about the various cars on the train. You're also likely to find the reading level understandable. Seymour Simon's Book of Trains is a beautiful book that offers an enjoyable way to learn more about trains. You'll have to get your own copy. I'm too attached to mine. For Ramping Up Your English, I'm John Letts. Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate level English learners who want to improve their English proficiency. If that's you, you're in the right place. This is segment 2 of episode 8. We have more journeys ahead on the Sunset Limited, but first let me tell you about my travel companions. My #1 travel partner is my wife, Liz. Most of the video you see on Ramping Up Your English is done with Liz helping. You often hear her talking in the background, and I often show her both on and off the train. She shoots video footage and still photography. She also spots good shots for me to videotape. Most important for me, she makes traveling fun. Her father also travels with us on the Sunset Limited and on the Coast Starlight. He's the handsome guy with the goatee. He also shot some of the videos seen in this segment. Liz and her dad, Charles, are in some of the video clips that go with today's episode. You'll continue to see them during this unit on trains and railroads. Speaking of railroads, we have many idioms in English that come from trains and railroads. An idiom is a saying that means something different from the literal meaning of the words. Here's an example. When the efforts or results of people get refocused toward a goal, we say that the effort is back on track. It can be used in a command such as, "We need to get this project back on track." Of course, a train by its nature cannot travel when it's not on the track, but getting the project back on track has nothing to do with trains. It has to do with refocusing and resuming progress on the project. A similar idiom is getting sidetracked. This refers to something that happens that interrupts progress toward a goal. An example might be that an equipment breakdown sidetracked my video work. Literally, a sidetrack, also called a siding, is a track off the main line. Trains often take the sidetrack to let another train get by. A similar expression is to say that an effort was derailed. This is similar to getting sidetracked, but worse. When a train derails, the wheels are no longer on the rails. A derailment can be disastrous, often resulting in the train falling on its side or crashing into things. It can result in deadly explosions, but it can also be simply a problem that can be fixed fairly easily. Either way, though, being derailed keeps a train from reaching its destination. An example of this idiom might be, her plans to attend college were derailed by her losing her job. An idiom that's frequently used today is referring to an upcoming situation as a train wreck. Used this way, it has nothing to do with a train wrecking. It implies that the upcoming event will have a huge negative impact. Someone might say, for example, the investors saw the train wreck that was the latest economic crisis. The implication is that a disaster is going to take place. It will have a disastrous impact, and there's little or nothing that can be done to stop it, like a train wreck. An old idiom connected to railroad jargon is to be railroaded. Railroad companies were very aggressive businesses. They were known for cheating people they dealt with, especially if they wanted something someone had, like land to lay tracks across. Being forced into a bad deal is thus referred to as being railroaded. An example might be, the farmer was railroaded into selling to a developer for a very low price. Another example, the union was railroaded into signing a weak contract. Finally, there's an idiomatic, that's hard to say, isn't it? An idiomatic expression of running out of steam. Early locomotives were powered by steam, and if they ran out of water or fuel, the locomotive didn't have the energy to move. This expression is used when a person runs out of energy or runs out of enthusiasm. One example might be, I started to clean out the garage, but I ran out of steam. Another example would be, our new president has all kind of great ideas, but he ran out of steam before completing any of them. The important takeaway here is that with idioms, words you hear or read may not mean what they seem to mean. Hearing that underfunded state programs were a train wreck waiting to happen doesn't mean that anything happened to a train. Using idioms when producing language shows a high level of proficiency and a certain sophistication, but be careful to use them correctly. I'm sure there are other idiomatic expressions, hey, I said it, idiomatic expressions connected to trains and railroads. If you think of any, send them to my blog at letscreate.org. We'll get this program back on track with another video clip right after this. This is a Ramping Up Your English book review. If you've taken an interest in the theme of trains and railroads, you can grow that interest with Trains magazine. This is for the serious rail fan or just anyone who loves trains. Each issue has a main theme, this one about Western steam engines clearing the tracks of snow and ice. Since the featured events were for photographers, there are incredible pictures in this special winter and holiday issue. This issue also features Union Station in Kansas City, a beautifully remodeled historic train station served by Amtrak's Southwest Chief during its nighttime run between Chicago and Los Angeles. Trains magazine is also a good source of finding railroad museums closest to your home. If you want to know more, visit their website. I found my copy at a newsstand and I just couldn't resist buying it. This has been a Ramping Up Your English book review. I'm John Letts. Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate level English learners. You can watch and download this program and others by visiting archive.org/details/roguetv. Choose Ramping Up Your English from the sidebar or choose my name, John Letts. You can see this program on Channel 15 in Ashland and Channel 182 on Charter Cable. This is Episode 8, Segment 3. Our theme is trains and railroads. Let's watch the second part of our trip eastbound on Amtrak's Sunset Limited.
This train is named the Sunset Limited. Heading east to New Orleans, it's Amtrak train number 2. On a curve like this one, we can see the locomotives. We're headed east, the direction in which Southern Pacific built America's second transcontinental railroad. Our first episode saw us leave Los Angeles. Now we're headed to Tucson, Arizona.
Pacific guy.
Still got a good one.
There's the track crew.
You gonna say where you're at?
And we are west of Tucson, and there's Interstate 10. This is coming into Tucson. In the old schedule, this was at night.
If you want to view the Tucson station, see Part 1 of the Sunset Limited Eastbound, posted on letscreate.org. In today's show, we're pulling out of Tucson.
Huge power plant, probably coal. Yeah, there's the coal cars right there. That's a coal-powered power plant right there. And this is probably a coal processing facility.
What are all these passenger jets doing parked in the Arizona desert? The dry desert air is preserving them.
I'll let you know we'll be stopped for a moment to perform a safety check on the train. Once that is done, we'll be moving here shortly. Thank you, folks.
While the train is stopped, let's take a quick tour of the sleeping car.
This is what it looks like inside the sleeper. There's two seats facing each other, but I can only film one at a time. Little control panel here for heat, the light, little controls. And then above here,
there's a truck going over.
this is actually the top bunk, but it's set up for the day so you can sit upright. But this actually comes down at night, and there's a little bunk up there, and that's where you sleep. Now, if you're real lucky, you'll get a compartment with a wife in it, and and that's what we did here. This is my wife, and this is the seat that's facing the other seat. And as you can see, it gives you a good perch for doing some video work during the day and such. And then there's controls behind her for lights and such. There's a little table here that you can pull out and play cards or have a snack or whatever you want. As you can see, we have some water in here. This is an area of the car. You see Santa Claus there. This is the area of the car where if you're in first class, you can come and get a little juice in the morning or grab a bottle of water. For people who like to start their day with some coffee, there's a big old urn of coffee here. Everything's kept very nice and clean because we have a really good attendant in that car. There's little things in this little cabinet like cups and things. And what's really nifty is down here. There's ice in here, so you can put ice in your drinks. So this is the mid part of the car. And then if you turn in the opposite way, there's just one little aisle on the outside, and these are the bedrooms. These are much bigger spaces where people stay. Okay, so if we follow these stairs, they have to twist and turn, as you can see, down into the lower level. And you have to be in the lower level to get on or off of this train. Now right here is where you can store your bags, and as you can see, we have a lot of people with baggage considered carry-ons. And these are the doors in the lower level where you can get on or off the train. Here we are in Arizona. We recycle in our car. And this goes into the dining room. As you can see, there's all kind of tables in there. That is the dining car. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
This is the observation car, a great place to hang out and meet other passengers.
And here's the passenger, an unwary passenger. And we're back in the room.
Safety comes first on Amtrak. This train won't move until the safety check is finished and all systems are go. When we do move, we continue our journey east. We're still in Arizona, and there's lots of awesome desert ahead.
Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English. We saw several passenger train cars during the clip you just saw. Let's use English to state the function of those various cars. The sleeping car is where passengers can sleep lying down and sit up during the day. The observation car is where passengers can look at the scenery and visit with other passengers. See if you can make similar sentences about the functions of the other cars. You can also add to the sentences I've used as examples. You can find the list of cars on my website. You can also watch all of our programs and see our assignments there. The website is letscreate.org. You can also watch and even download this program and others by visiting archive.org/details/roguetv. That's all for Episode 8, Segment 3 of Ramping Up Your English. This program would not be possible without the people who volunteer their time to work as my technical crew. I want to thank them for their time and work, and I also want to thank you for watching. Join us for Episode 9 on RVTV. I'm John Latz.
You've been watching Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate-level English language learners. Learn more. Visit our website at letscreate.org. You can also watch or download today's program at archive.org/details/roguetv. Join us next time on RVTV Voices for Ramping Up Your English.